Raising emotionally healthy children. You know, emotions are such a big part of the human experience. However, in Western culture, we totally ignore training our children to identify, communicate, or even feel feelings. So how do we get emotional skills to our children? Help them navigate this journey that we call life as a human being, not just as a human doing, but so they can actually experience life as a human being. That's today's topic. Now, if you've not subscribed to our channel, please do. We've got lots of helpful information. And if you have a question, just put it in the box, send it to me. I will get to it as soon as possible. Stay tuned. As a psychologist, I deal with the fallout of adults not being able to know their feelings as children or as teenagers. They get stuffed, ignored. They medicate their feelings in various forms of dysfunction, addictions to alcohol, sex, work, intimacy, anorexia, not being able to open their heart in their marriages. So how do we break this cultural cycle that has gone on for thousands of years? That's what I want to share with you today. Now, I'm going to share with you a few ideas that are really important as you go through this. And if you commit to raising emotionally healthy children, it's going to take some really good ideas and some really good work and some really good intentionality. So let's start with my first point. Number one, we as parents have to take full, and I mean full 100%, responsibility for our children's emotional development. The culture, regardless of what culture you're in, is probably not going to be good at this. Religious groups are not generally really strong on sharing feelings, knowing how to identify feelings. Schools, although some here and there are now talking to little kids about their feelings, but it's our job to make sure it's done. It's my job as a parent to make sure that my daughter or my son can share their feelings and know what a feeling is. And I can tell you there's a lot of perks, there's a lot of benefits if you actually have a child who can tell you what they feel. Because when they share what they're feeling, they're sharing all of who they are. They're being authentic, and you're teaching them to be authentic. Now, we don't make decisions based on our feelings, but it's really good to know what feelings we're having. Now, number two, we must be emotionally fit ourselves, okay? And I strongly suggest the book Emotional Fitness. I wrote that book for adults. It takes you through that journey seriously so that you can be ahead of your children. And I would say that that's a better way to parent is by role modeling it, okay? I've been sharing feelings with my wife every day for the last 34 years. My kids have seen it. We can talk about feelings. My kids can talk about feelings when they were little, and as adults, they can still, even if they don't want to talk about it, they know what they're feeling. But the kind of parenting that some of us grew up with was, do as I say, not as I do. But when it comes to feelings, that's not going to work. Because if you're not emotionally mature, and you're asking your child to be emotionally mature, they're not going to be able to get there. They need to see you share feelings, and feelings that aren't easy to share. They need to see you say, I'm sorry, and really mean it, that I caused you pain. They need to be able to hear you distinguish between alone, lonely, and confused and frustrated, instead of you just being angry and walking around the house like a lit fuse. See, in having emotionally fit children, and I can hear every teacher in America clapping for me right now, you have to have emotionally mature adults. Now, I'm not saying perfect. I am saying emotionally mature. So if you have not had a course in emotions, which I have 4 degrees, and none of them was a course on emotions, I had to teach myself, how to become emotionally fit and mature and able to identify and communicate feelings. And I'm a guy who came from a dysfunctional family, never met my dad, was sexually abused, had multiple addictions, alcohol, drugs, sex, food, work. I understand being emotionally immature, but I took responsibility. And I said to myself, I'm gonna figure this feeling things out. And I did. Okay, so you can do that. Now you need to be intentional if you are gonna raise children who are emotionally healthy. This will not happen by hit and miss. This is not a let's go somewhere for a weekend. This is something that you're going to have to be intentional with long term. It's kind of like if you decide if your family is going to be fit. If you're exercising, they will probably exercise. If they're going to be healthy, the diet that they eat, how they look at food, it's the same way. How do they look at emotions? Are emotions good? Are they only good if they are good feelings? You can talk about the good ones, but not the bad ones. Are feelings good and bad? Are feelings just feelings? And it's okay to feel hurt or frustrated or alone or confused, as well as it is to be happy, excited, and creative. So you are going to set the template, but without intentionality, nobody gets to emotional maturity. It has to be a discipline that you engage for a season, and then you have the skill, like anything in life. If you're committed to raising emotionally healthy children, you have to be committed to an intentional plan to do that. Now, I'm going to give you some practical ideas here, and you can take what you want, all right? And hopefully this helps you just have some fun with it. Number one, be clear that feelings are not thoughts. If I ask someone how they feel, if they do not tell me an adjective, like close, confused, curious, whatever it is, if they don't tell me an adjective, they are telling me a thought. Thoughts are not feelings. Feelings are adjectives. Calm, overwhelmed. And so you in your own heart and mind have to be sensitive that when you're asking for feelings and someone says, well, I think that we should ... They're sharing a thought with you. They're not sharing a feeling with you. When someone is sharing an adjective, that's a feeling. Number two, practice asking. Just when your kid's having normal conversation with you. Well, what did you feel when that was going on, when they're sharing their day? Now, I would caution you to not word it this way. Avoid, how did that make you feel? Because you may be teaching your kids that they're victims of other people, that somehow other people make them feel things. Now, they can feel things as a reaction, but they are in control of what's going on in here as far as being able to identify it or communicate it, okay? And so I think it's better when you're talking to kids, say, well, how did you feel when that happened? How did that feel? What was the feelings? And if they go, well, I don't really know. Well, was it close to this? Was it close to this or this or this? Oh, it was that one, okay? But again, how did that make you feel? As a therapist, I would really not prefer you do that, because then everyone is in control of how I feel. And you don't want to teach them that the external environment controls them emotionally. They have to react to it, and they may react to it emotionally, but them reacting to it emotionally is still them driving their car as opposed to someone else driving their car. So be careful about that. Number three, do one feeling a day. At bedtime, just if you have little kids, say, what was one feeling you had today? Then also share one feeling you had. I did this with my daughter for years. If I put her to bed, it'd be like, okay, Hadassah, what's the one feeling you had today? She'd share a feeling connected to a story from her day, and I would share a feeling. And I taught her that males can identify feelings, communicate feelings, and be safe with their feelings and protect their feelings, okay? And so she learned very early on that men can do this. And so I inoculated her from dating men who couldn't. And the ones who can't usually have addictions or other issues going on in life, and the ones who can are generally healthier, okay? So if you have early adolescents, you can have them share a feeling from their day at mealtime or throughout the week several times. Hey, let's everyone share a feeling. Well, what's something that happened to you this week? Okay, that's one way to do it, or this day. I wouldn't necessarily do it every single day, so it sounds like, you're kind of being religious about it, but maybe on a regular basis it'd be good. Okay, it's also good to teach them to praise each other. What do you like about your sister, your brother? Those are great things to do. But you can decide a rhythm so that feelings are part of the conversation. And you want to have both parents be able to do that so that both mom and dad can share a feeling from their day if the kids are sharing feelings from their day. Again, you want to lead by example. And it's okay for even dad to say, hey, let's do a feeling. My feeling today was I felt exhilarated when my boss came in and said we hit our goal and it was my fault that we hit the goal, and he laughed about it, and I felt exhilarated because I really tried hard. And then, the kids share one, mom shares one. It's a great thing to do. Also, in emotional fitness, we have an exercise called miming. This can be a fun game, especially like smaller kids tend to like this. And if you know what a mime is, it's when you put your body in a position without saying any words. And so in the emotional fitness book, I have you just kind of pick a feeling and then you mime it. And what happens there is you're actually teaching their fascial system to feel the feeling and to distinguish between feelings and thoughts. Because feelings hit your fascial system, they're throughout your whole body, they're not in your brain. And they begin to learn that calm is here, excited is here. And they begin to feel their feelings, not just think their feelings. That's really a fun thing. Next, if you're sharing feelings, with the kids and, they're sharing a story and say, hey, what'd you feel? I find this to be a great question that can really help you get deeper. What else are you feeling about that? And let them go through maybe 2 or 3 other feelings, and you might get to some really core thoughts, really core feelings as they're opening their heart towards you. And it teaches them that you're safe, as long as you keep their confidences. Okay, very important. Also, you can teach anger can be more than one feeling. It could be hurt, it could be rejected, it could be disrespected, it could be frustrated. Because some people put everything into anger like some big emotional, jello or umbrella. But it gives you a place to be able to say, it's okay to be angry, but what else are you feeling other than anger? Do you feel disrespected? Do you feel unheard? Do you feel suppressed? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel unimportant by somebody? And maybe you can navigate them to find the feeling. When they do, oh, that's it. You are helping them become emotionally fit. Now, I hope this gives you a couple ideas to help your children move towards being more emotionally fit. Your time and effort on teaching them to be emotionally healthy is so important. If you can get this done before they hit adolescence, it'll make your parenting and their adolescent process, because oftentimes adolescents develop feelings faster than they have the skills to manage them. Well, if you're ahead of that, when they hit adolescence, they can tell you what they're feeling instead of slamming doors and staying in the room for hours, okay? Now, as a parent, be a safe place. Never share their feelings with others. Don't go telling your friends that your child feels disappointed. Don't go sharing your feelings with the other siblings. Don't necessarily even share them with your spouse unless there's some real significant reason to do so. Don't tell them they should feel something. Oh, you shouldn't feel that, honey. You should feel this. Please don't do that. Be a safe place for your child. Now, today's topic was raising emotionally fit children. If you would like to subscribe to our channel, we've got lots of information on lots of topics. Please do that. And if you have a question for me, I try to get back to them as soon as possible. So please just type it in there, hit that, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope this has been helpful, and you can have emotionally fit kids, you can have emotional fitness yourself, and you can leave a legacy of emotional fit children.